Well, thinking back to the plenary session yesterday and the other sessions I've attended since then, what I'm hearing is innovation and collaboration. And what more is going to get us there through a carbon economy than both those things? So in context of the insurance industry, our industry is the world's largest industry by revenue, about $4 trillion annually. But we're also an industry
Barbara, stop there.
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again.
The
It's
world's
$4 trillion
annually.
annually. How
Globally.
much do you earn?
A small fraction
That's
of that.
huge. But
Yeah.
that's big.
And that's the context. It is large. But what we're in the business of doing is the business of risk management and loss prevention. So would you start a new business? Would you buy your first home, your first car, if you weren't able to transfer that risk to an insurance company? And likely the answer is no for most of us. But we're also most affected by climate change. When you think of property damage, you think of loss of life, you think of travel insurance, we're at the center of what I call this storm. Global insurance disasters since 1970 have seen our claims go from $1 billion annually to up to $30 billion in 2009. That's huge.
That's big.
So as a business, as an industry, how are we going to be relevant to be sustainable and be there? And that's what our industry is wrestling with. What are the opportunities for us, and how do we remain relevant?
Can I throw in a little stat there?
You
Just
may.
with a bit of stat trading. Group of financial institutions in 2002 said by 2012 we'll be losing $150 billion a year because of climate and natural disasters.
Yep.
That figure was passed in 2005. The same institutions have said that by 2040, it's a reasonable scenario with business as usual, we'll be losing $1 trillion a year in terms of climate change. Can you imagine every year having a sort of third of a credit crunch? I mean, that's not good, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the risk, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's huge.
One more stat that I think is interesting. If you look at the 36 of the 40 largest claims since 1970, they have been climate and weather related. So, I mean, it's something that's real. It's not something we're manufacturing. The insurance industry looks at what's coming in two levels, the mitigation and the adaptation, because we're going to need both to move into this low carbon economy. One alone is not the solution. The other thing our industry needs to do is that we need to be able to walk the talk. So before we go out and start to influence whether it's our clients, whether it's businesses or governments, unless we ourselves are not taking the issue seriously and coming up with plans, how can we go out and influence others? So what we're doing within our own industries is beginning to reduce our emissions. You'll see that many of us are becoming carbon neutral. We're starting to develop products and services that relate to a low carbon economy. Are we there yet? No, we're really just beginning. We're a very traditional business, and when we look at some of these new things that are coming up, I'll give you one example. 3 years ago, one of our underwriters got a call from an agent. They had just built a straw bale home. So you picture the underwriter, right, going through the book going, straw bale home, it's not in here. Straw, fire, oh my gosh, we can't cover that. Well, the reality is, yes, you can cover it. We've just got to think of how can we cover it. So we're retooling our thinking. And we're not the most innovative business. I don't mean the cooperators, I'm talking about us generally. Okay? Just need to put that caveat in there.
You're not innovative, but you've got $4 trillion in your pocket, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And what we've got in addition to the $4 trillion, Paul, is the influence. So how many of us have that connection to your clients? This business happens to have it. We're also developing purchasing policies so that we can start to encourage and enhance the supply chain. Very important. And lastly, and I'll end here, is the piece around strategic partnerships and advocacy. So how can we develop strategic partnerships that help us move into the low carbon economy, whether that's research with universities, research with organizations such as the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction in Canada, and then what kind of public policy can we
Just say that again. What's the institute called?
ICLR.
What does it stand for?
Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction.
Are they happy people?
They're very happy people.
It's not good.
And what they do, just one example, is they've built us what they call a resilient home. It cost us 20% more than a regular build, but we built it as part of a project so that we could learn from it and going further. And then the advocacy part. How can we partner with governments, business, and communities to come up with a solution? Because if we continue to work in silos, there is no solution.